What's up, Twitch and YouTube? It's MurphyD55 coming to you with another edition of the Northern. This is an Around the NBA edition for round one of the playoffs. A couple of the series have already been wrapped up, so hopefully next week we can get on and see where these teams are at. But there's still a few games to be played, a couple hard-fought series underway. But I'll start by introducing off my guests on the show today. On the top left corner, we got my guy JT Savage Gaming, aka Jake the Savage.
What up?
What's going on, my dude? Appreciate you coming through, man. It's been I was actually able to be on your podcast quite a while back, and I appreciate you doing that. And now,
anytime.
Yeah, man, and returning the favor now and being on one of these pods. It's great to have you on, man. Appreciate you coming through.
Great honor.
We got my guy King Cov. He needs no introduction. He's been on here. What was it, eight times?
It might be 9, bro. Honestly,
Yeah.
like it's out there. You know who I am.
Yeah, Cov is like the guy that I never want to have to invite on here, but he just always seems to make himself available, and he just loves to argue sports. So
Yes, I do.
As long as you keep coming on here, man, it's a privilege to have you on, my friend. But
Always will be, man.
and I know Cov is my guy. Actually, he's my plug for getting Weekend League rewards. He played on my account this week in Madden Weekend League. I haven't played it for months, and he went 21-4.
Like psycho vibes.
Guy's a demon, and that was on like Sunday night too, wasn't it? That was like a Sunday night.
I didn't suck. It was kind of wild too. I didn't start till like 11:30 midnight too, bro. I was Jesus Christ.
Insane. So you got 24. You got 21 wins, and essentially you had like a 9.5 hour time frame to get those.
Yeah,
wins.
it was a speed run, bro. It was a speed run.
Bro, that's gross. I gotta start playing. I gotta start staying up all night and facing the goons like you, man. I gotta get prepared for it.
It's fun. It's addicting, bro. But I appreciate you.
Hey, of course, man. And we got my guy Laserbeam, who was on here last week on the MLB front, talking a lot about predictions for stat leaders in different categories, talking about how the Red Sox were doing. He's been to a couple of Red Sox games already this year, and we know Laserbeam well from the Madden community. Beam, welcome back. I saw you cooking up some jambalaya before stream.
Yes, sir.
Well done, man. Where'd you get that recipe? Because you're from Massachusetts, so like that's like a down south thing, right? That's like a New Orleans thing.
All in the head.
Man, that's
It
incredible.
had to be chicken and sausage because I'm allergic to shellfish, so I can't
damn.
put shrimp in there.
Yeah, I was gonna say I always grew up with the shrimp as well, but that makes sense. You don't want to go anaphylactic for a good meal, you know. But guys, you might not know this by looking at Laserbeam, but he actually had his wisdom teeth out like 2 days ago, and he's looking fantastic. Which we talked about this in Discord. I was in shambles for like a week. Mr. Sharman Clean was saying the same thing. He was comatose for 3 days.
Comatose.
Like, what the hell is going on there? And with that being said, let's move over to my guy, Mr. Sharman Clean, who's also been on one of my MLB podcasts talking a lot about the Yankees and how he is not happy with the direction of the franchise. But he's now here to talk strictly Knicks. He's going to be the Knicks commentator for the street. No, I'm kidding.
That's totally fine. You want to talk Knicks? We can talk Knicks all day.
Oh, heck no, don't worry. We're only talking about the teams that are...
Like, can we not talk about the Knicks, please?
Nobody wants to hear about the Knicks. Trust me.
No, exactly.
Nobody
But
Poverty.
But Sharman, my guy, Mr. Sharman Clean, is also a member of the Sports Accelerator program too. So I kind of met him through that. A great chance to kind of network, and he's the one person who took me up on my Discord message to be on one of the podcasts, and now I'm glad that you're a return guest. I really appreciate you coming through, man. And
Yeah, no problem. Man. No problem.
Awesome.
My pleasure. Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Oh, of course, my
Agreed.
friend. And we got some legends in the chat. We got Big Kep in the building here right now, so be on alert, guys. He tends to try to
He's
hop
already
into.
clowning me, so.
Oh,
Hi,
of
Cap.
course. And look at that, SMDFTB. I'm not going to say what that stands for, but it does mean, I will say, okay, it means suck my dick from the back. That's what he tells me all the time, and that's not very nice. So, no acronyms in this chat, guys. If anyone drops an acronym, ban them. I don't care what it is, all right? But appreciate you coming through for the podcast. Let's get rolling here. Let's start off with the first topic. And we're going to kind of go series by series here. I know obviously you guys might not have watched all the games. I've really only focused in on the Raptors-Sixers series myself, but I've been checking box scores and whatnot. First series I want to look at here is the Warriors versus the Nuggets. So Warriors kind of running away with this one here. Jake, have you had a chance to watch any of these games or kind of keep...
I've been watching the Celtics.
Oh, yeah. Well, there you go.
All the Celtics. I've been
We're
watching
gonna
all the
get there.
Celtics games.
We're going to get there, and we're
But
kind of going to do
yeah.
Western Conference first and then into the East. But do you think the Warriors have this series in the bag, Jake? Do you think it's
I think
a foregone
yeah,
conclusion?
definitely. Because Jordan Poole, oh my God, man's is pulling up points. Curry pulling up points. Clay's been pulling up points. They all been really good.
Yeah.
So yeah, I got the Warriors. for
Yeah.
sure.
I think what is it, 3-1 in the series right now, if I'm
Yeah.
not mistaken. So it's
Yeah.
yeah. So and then it'll be going back to Golden State as well, right, for Game 5. So a chance to win it on home court.
I think that's tonight, actually.
Yeah, and let's go reverse order here. My guy Sharman, have you watched any of these games?
Yeah,
in
it's
this
just
series?
it's really just Jordan Poole. Jordan Poole took a huge step. Steph had a huge game in Game 2. I think he came off the bench and had 30 plus. So it's just the Warriors looking like the Warriors, and honestly, they look pretty scary. I think when you add all the parts together, along with Jordan Poole, all of a sudden just becoming like another version of himself. I think they're going to be a pretty scary team and a pretty tough team to knock out. I think anybody in the West, especially Phoenix, a little bit banged up.
Yeah.
I think the West should be on edge a little bit. I mean, they're making this series look way too easy. And if Jordan Poole keeps playing like this, they're going to be really tough to beat. So we're going to see what happens.
Absolutely, and speaking of Jordan Poole, like it's kind of interesting how many young players have kind of taken a leap in the first round of this year's playoffs. Like there's Anthony Edwards in the Timberwolves series, who's really kind of exploded. Maxey for the Sixers has looked like a difference maker and a potential star. And then Poole being like thrown into the mix. So it's kind of cool. You don't traditionally see rookies and young players playing a huge role. It's normally like veteran teams in the past that have kind of had success and the young guys have to sit out. But kind of like a sense of the changing times maybe in the NBA where young guys really rule the roost here going forward. Let's keep going around the loop here to my guy Beam. Beam, what do you think of this series so far, Warriors Nuggets? Do you think this is shines a negative light on Jokic at all and on his MVP chances? Not putting up much of a fight?
I don't know. I'm gonna be honest. The only team I really follow is the Celtics.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be completely honest. I feel like the Warriors just have been good for a couple of years though. Oh, except for like last year or last couple of years.
Yeah, they've like the one thing I'm kind of curious for anyone who's watched the Big Cap, by the way, saying fuck the Raptors. There's my analysis. Cap, we got ourselves a series, my guy.
Jeez.
Tomorrow night, I'll be live streaming that game without the video. Obviously, that's the one biggest thing about sidecasting that sucks, man. You can't show the video, and I'm always behind my feed is always way behind the ESPN feed, but. Yeah, man. The one thing I'm curious about is Klay Thompson because there's been these commercials that I've been watching. He's been recovering from multiple injuries. Got injured kind of in that series against the Raptors in the finals against the Raptors, and he doesn't seem like statistically to have gone back to his prior self, which was like a great second option. Kov, have you seen anything like is Klay Thompson? What percentage would you say he's operating at right now?
Right. Yeah, he's clearly not like the Klay Thompson we all know, but when you have a guy like Poole kind of backing him up, then it pretty much you're pretty much going back in time with how good the Warriors actually are. You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
if Draymond's doing this thing, getting rebounds, playing defense, like they could easily win the West. Like honestly, especially if Phoenix is beat up, they're in a dogfight right now with the Pelicans. Like if they hopefully they get out of the series. Like losing Game 4 is a little bit more important than people think. Everyone's like, they go up 3-0. You think you lose Game 4 because the Nuggets are just back against the wall. Like they're gonna fight, obviously, especially at home. But like you want to get out of those series and get those guys rested up. And if they can do that while other teams are kind of hurting, they're gonna walk away with the West.
Yeah, absolutely. No, I think you're spot on with the analysis there, and it's true. Like, I mean, look at the Raptors, getting shelled in the first two games, putting up fight, and then losing a heartbreaker in the third game, and then all of a sudden now we're on the verge of winning this series, and the Raptors are going to win the championship this year. But we'll get into that later. That'll be the last game we talk about. But appreciate the analysis on that one, guys. Let's move on to another series. And my guy B. Johnsy's ears are going to perk up here because we're talking Mavericks versus Jazz. And it's been interesting because when we think Mavericks, we obviously think Luka Doncic, and he's been banged up and not even fully available for the series. I think this one is it 3-2 for the Mavericks right now?
3-2 Dallas.
Yeah. So, Jake, what do you predict for the rest of the series? And have you been able to? I know you've been following mostly the Celtics. What do you predict? Do you think the Mavericks are going to take care of business?
They could if Luka is just healthy. If Luka is healthy and their whole team is just rallying around Luka, but if they don't have Luka, they won't take the win.
Yeah,
but I think the Mavs will take it though.
Yeah, I'm honestly surprised. Like I look at the box scores for these games. I don't know a single, and like I used to know, like I used to check all the box scores. I used to know, all the players on all the teams maybe 5 years ago, and then once I started streaming on Twitch. I had to obviously as a necessity stop watching sports because I streamed at the same time that all the games were on at. so I kind of fell out of the loop there. But I look at the Mavericks roster, and once Porzingis got traded, I literally don't know anybody else on the Mavericks other than Luka. Like, that's rare to me to not know anybody on a team. Like, you know, I could probably name at least 5 players on any other NBA team. Is there anybody else good on the Mavericks? Is there anybody else who's solid?
Yeah.
Maybe we'll go to Sharman. Sharman, what do you think, man?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, get out of here. Jalen Brunson's been a star, and he's about to get paid this summer, too. I mean, he had the 40. I think he put up 41 in game 5, game 4, whatever it was, I think, to tie it up. I think it was game 4, right?
Yeah.
And he's an absolute monster, and he's actually the only reason they're still alive in the series, because Luka definitely doesn't look like Luka. I pride myself in probably watching way too much Luka over the course of the year. I just love watching him play. He does not look like himself. The only reason they're still alive right now is Jalen Brunson. I think Dinwiddie had one decent game, and they have really just a bunch of role players between Finney-Smith and Bullock, and it's a really weird team, but it's a team that works.
It is. It really is.
When Luka is what Luka is, they're going to be good. They're going to be tough to beat. But the only reason they're still alive in this series is Jalen Brunson for sure.
Yep.
Yeah, Andrew. So he's been kind of picking up the slack. What position does he play? Is he like a small forward, point guard?
He's like a point guard, but a fake 2. They use him in a couple of different ways. It depends what Luka's playing. When Luka's in, he's the 2, and they don't usually play too much together. But he's primarily a 1, and he's going to get paid this summer, probably way too much money. He actually reminds me a little bit of when the Mavs made a run, however many years ago, when JJ Barea had that great playoff run. He's starting to remind me a little bit of that. And JJ got a huge contract from that, and I think I see Brunson kind of getting the same deal here. He's definitely going to get paid.
Now, do you think I was going to say, do you think Brunson's going to be able to live up to that contract, maybe a bit better than JJ Barea did? Because he was never even a fringe all-star type guy.
He never really made it. I don't know. Brunson definitely took a huge step this year. I think Cobb might be able to tell you a little bit more, but it seems like he knows a little bit more about him, too. Obviously, I watched him. I think he came from Nova, right, Cobb? Is that right?
Yeah, Big Cat and Villanova legend,
Kev confirmed.
Yeah, he's definitely a good player. I don't know if he's going to deserve the kind of contract he get. I do think one of the small market teams is probably going to give him too much money.
He's probably going to go somewhere else.
I could see him ending up somewhere weird like Sacramento or somewhere weird like that where they'll give him too much money and expect too much out of him. But I'll tell you what, man, watching him in the playoffs, he looks pretty legit. I don't know if I would still give him a huge contract, but the way he's looked in the playoffs, it's kind of hard to argue not giving him a contract at this point.
Yeah, absolutely.
How many guys can walk into a playoff series and drop 40? You know what I mean? So he's legit for sure.
Facts. And right now I'm trying to dig up mentally players who have gone off in a playoff game and had that one magical playoff moment to never compete like that again. That's kind of like the ultimate thing. Like when I would have, dreams as a kid of being a great athlete or whatever, and I never was a great athlete. Like I played a lot of sports, so I was never great. I think the ultimate like the peak thing, the coolest thing would be to be like a role play fringe guy who gets to step in a crucial moment and absolutely lives up to the hype. I think those are the kind of stories that make for good television, and but hopefully, I mean, in those players' eyes, they'd obviously love to do that consistently because that's where the money's at. But Laserbeam, what do you think about this Mavericks Jazz series? Do you think the Jazz have any chance of fighting back?
No.
Donovan Mitchell and Rudy Gobert. No, you think they're toast?
I think they're toast. It's what, 3-2?
3-2. Yeah.
Yeah. No, it's over.
Yeah.
If I'm wrong, I'm wrong. But I think it's over.
If I'm wrong, I'm wrong. I love it. Hey, and look at the Austin 316 shirt. That's a W shirt, by the way. That's shout out to was that a recent purchase with WrestleMania with Stone Cold coming back, or is that you've had that for a while?
That was probably a year or two at this point.
Yeah, timeless, always timeless. Cobb, you seem to know a little bit about Brunson and about this Mavericks team. You seem to know a lot about all sports. You guys are the goons.
Yes. Well, I want to actually kind of flip it because remember the last time I was on here, we were talking about the NBA. What was the one team I told you I was not sold on, bro? And it was Utah. I'm telling you, bro, they get to the playoffs, and for some reason, the way they play defensively, the way the points they put up, it just doesn't match in the playoffs. And I mean, the Mavericks are, without Luka, they are playing well, but let's not talk about that the Jazz aren't getting blown out in a couple of these games. They had a couple of games where they snuck away, but I think in the last game they lost by 30 or 25. They're not the hype is not there in Utah, bro. I kind of like it because I'm hoping Donovan Mitchell, is wants to come check out New York type deal because he's a big Mets fan. So I'm kind of hoping, they do get beat.
Don't do that.
that's
I don't want to
he's
deal
a
with
big
it. I don't want to deal with other guy.
New York guy, bro. He's a big New York guy. So
Come on. Yeah,
I'm
yeah,
hoping.
yeah. Don't get me started already. I hear this shit every year.
Oh man,
I'm
but
so tired of
here's the thing:
That was
how can you
Kemba.
not be a big New York guy? New York's a world class city. I can't imagine. I don't understand why free agency has been such an issue. Hey, Beam. No, I know Beam's a Boston guy, so obviously he hates New York. But like, New York's a world class city. I don't understand
don't
why
hate
there's not a
that.
draw for free agents to go there. Like, what is going on? Like for the last 30 years, like, who-
Ownership, maybe the
Bro.
ownership, or
I have
you
heard
know.
that the Knicks owner is it James Dolan?
Yeah,
James
James
Dolan. The
Bro,
reason nobody
he's a
wants to
cock.
come to New York, yeah, that's why.
He's a
James
cock.
I've heard, and you guys, the New Yorkers here could probably confirm this, but I heard a rumor about an employee. Well, first of all, that Spike Lee getting kicked off the court side, right? Like that was one thing, or being denied access to MSG. Terrible look. But I also heard a story about there's like some members only club in the arena, which is we have one in Toronto too. It's like the Drake Club or whatever. But I heard of a staffer asking for his credentials or whatever, or asking for like ID as he was getting into the place, and then getting fired because he didn't know what the owner of the team looked like. And I mean, that just seems like such a dick move. I don't know
That's
what
just
the
hell.
owner of the Raptors looks like. I mean, I know what the GM and the coach look like. When is an owner ever shown on TV?
Right.
Wait, who's
So-
the owner of the Celtics?
I see. I have no clue. I only know
Nobody
Dolan
knows.
because he sucks.
I wanna say it's Wick.
Yeah. But I
Yeah.
mean, like,
I wanna say it's
like
Wick.
I mean, the series isn't over though. Like, I mean, as much as like I said about Utah, like they're still like they're gonna have Game 7 right at home if they force a Game 7. So it's like if they go in Dallas and squeak out a win like they did their previous win, Game 7, anything can happen in a Game 7.
Yeah,
So to say it's
for
over
sure.
is like, I think the Mavs will win, but like to say it's over is like you just don't know.
Yeah.
On the Mavs, I'm really trying to take Game 6. I think
Oh,
they have.
yeah, if you don't take Game 6,
Yeah, Mavs are
You gotta
definitely
take
taking
that.
it.
Yeah, you're in a
I
rough
don't-
spot.
Yeah, I don't know. If you lose that game, it's going to be really hard to go into Utah, especially banged up and take that game
Exactly.
For
6.
sure. Utah has had a very like hostile home court advantage. Like ever since the days when Jordan was going up against Stockton and Malone, like they do have a very good home court advantage. I'd say. It's kind of like Salt Lake seems like this little hamlet in the middle of nowhere, but everybody rallies around that team. There's not a lot of other.
Jonesy just said Game 7's in Dallas. I thought Utah was the higher seed.
No, I
Oh.
think Utah. No,
I think
that
it was a
game's
four.
No.
This is the 4-5 series, right? I think it might be.
Oh no,
Mavericks
you're
4.
right. No, you're right. No, the Mavs are the higher seed. That's right. No, Game 7.
I didn't know that. I thought Utah
I thought it was
was
flipped. I thought so too.
Oh,
Oh,
okay.
damn.
Well,
So can we
I'll
just
tell
say
you
it's
what,
over
I'll tell
now?
you
Do we
what,
just
that
say it's
changes
over?
it a
No.
little bit. That changes it a little bit.
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
know?
But then
Yeah,
you get
yeah.
the chance to even the series at home, and then you're like you said, Game 7,
Right.
anything can happen.
Then I like Dallas a little bit more than.
Yeah. Yeah.
We all
Okay.
do.
There we go. So
My
some
fault,
good.
my fault.
It's all good, boys. I literally know nothing about any series other than the Raptors Sixers. So it's
Same.
completely acceptable to not know everything about every series. But guys, let's get into another interesting one. And this I think has been maybe one of the most. What the fuck? This is not what I wanted to come up. Oh, okay. Give me a second, boys. I got to go and change the image here. This is labeled Suns Pelicans, and unfortunately, this is not a Suns Pelicans thing here. Where the hell's my Suns Pelicans? Oh my God, this is shambles. This is my PNG generator failing me. This is why I need to hire a manager for these type of things. Oh my
Me
God.
too, yeah.
This should be alphabetical, but I'm having a lot of trouble remembering my alphabet right now. Oh, here we go. All right. We're good. Suns Pelicans, guys. I think this has been maybe the most intriguing series. Dealing with like a banged up Suns team. The Pelicans minus
yeah.
Zion, which we can't like forget about how big of an impact Zion might have on a series like this. Let's start off with Jake the Savage. So I think this one is it 3 games to? Is it 2-2? In this
Yeah,
one,
it's
Suns
3-2.
Pelicans 3-2 for the
3-2
Suns.
Suns.
3-2 Suns. They took Game 5 the other night. Yeah.
Yeah, and Game 7 obviously going to be in Phoenix for this one since the Suns were the top seed. Pelicans getting in the play-in. Jake, what do you think? Do you think the Suns are going to close it out at home?
Definitely.
Yeah,
D
for
Book.
game.
He's good. Their whole team has been good. Their whole team has been healthy. Not like the Pelicans without
Well-
Zion.
Yeah, well, Book, I think, didn't he have a hamstring issue or something that's been keeping him out of games? I've heard
Yeah.
Book's been.
Yeah.
Did
Yeah.
he-
Right hand.
Did he miss the entire last game? I think he might have.
Yeah, he missed Game 5. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I think he's back for the next one, isn't he?
Yeah, he's supposed to be. We'll have to see.
Yeah.
We'll see.
I think though like a hamstring injury is like one of those nagging things like
Bad.
guaranteed he's going to be experiencing a lot of difficulty
Awful.
getting his legs under him for the rest of the playoffs. Chris Paul's old as hell. Like Chris Paul is still a gamer, and but he's just the chance of him getting banged up are super high as well. Like playing beyond 82 games in the season, it's a whole second season in its own right. But I do think this like young Pelicans team, even without Zion, has been showing a lot of fight. People kind of, I think we even talked about this. Maybe I was watching somebody else's stream. They talked about this. If the Pelicans could sneak in the play-in, that they might actually make some noise. What do you think, Sharman, about this? This series. Do you think it's over? Do you think the Pelicans could potentially upset?
I think it's possible. I don't. It would have to be Brandon Ingram would have to go absolutely nuts. He one game, so I think it's possible. I think especially with Booker out, I think Bridges has looked good enough though to replace Booker. And Booker actually, I'm pretty sure in the middle of the season they said he was going to miss a couple of games with a hamstring injury, and I think he ended up missing a couple of weeks. So I don't know. It's just a matter of whether or not Bridges can take the next step. Obviously, Chris Paul, you have Ayton. They're definitely a better team than New Orleans, especially without Zion. But New Orleans has got a little fight in it. I was actually at the play-in game against the Spurs.
Oh, no way. Nice.
That home crowd has really some kind of serious energy to it. So I wouldn't be totally shocked if they took game 6 and at least forced a game 7. But I find it really hard to believe the Suns go out here unless something bad happens the next 2 games. Somebody goes down with another injury, like you said, if Chris Paul rolls an ankle, or they really are. They're one-turned ankle series. So we'll just have to see how it goes.
What I got to ask, so the playing game, was that in New Orleans or was that in?
It was in New Orleans. I think it's actually going to end up being Pop's last game. I'm pretty sure he's retiring. So
really,
that's kind of wild.
Yeah, I was in New Orleans for work, and it was literally right up the street. And I said, what, screw it, I'll go. And the tickets were cheap, so we went.
Awesome.
We went and checked that out. And that place really is it's pretty lively. So I wouldn't be totally shocked if they took game 6 out there and then maybe try to force a game 7 back home. And when it comes to game 7, like I said, you never know what could happen. So if you're Phoenix, I really want to close it out. But that's a tough game in New Orleans, so we're gonna have to see what happens.
For sure. And I'm just thinking, like, you're talking about like a good atmosphere down there. The city that kind of supports their team. But I'm thinking the Pelicans has got to be the worst name in the NBA. Like it's got to be the worst, right? Pelican. Like there's nothing good about that name. The logo is actually kind of cool. I do kind of like their logo, to be honest. But I remember hearing that the owner's fiance, girlfriend, wife liked the name Pelicans, and that's why they chose it. Maybe next time, like, open that up to like a public poll or something. Although, I mean, that's why we got the Raptors name too. That was '95 when Jurassic Park was out. So I mean, the polls aren't perfect either. But Beam, what do you think about this series here, Suns Pelicans? What are your thoughts on the series?
Well, I really like the Suns. The Pelicans is the worst name in history.
Yes.
So I'm just gonna say the Suns are gonna close this out.
Just strictly based on name alone. That's a bold prediction
basically.
Here.
Just based on the name.
Yeah. So Suns are.
I like Booker. I like DeAndre Ayton.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think I can name anyone on the Pelicans except for Zion.
Yeah, I mean Pelicans like Brandon Ingram came over from the Lakers, right? Like he was drafted by the Lakers, came over and part of that AD package, and I always liked his game. He's like a super long, like 3.
He's like Kevin Durant.
Yeah, he honestly like probably a good comparable to him. Obviously, he's got a long way to get there, but he did well even that season when they had never mind with DeMarcus Cousins. I think DeMarcus Cousins got moved before he got into town. I don't know if they even got to play together too much. But I mean, I know they have Valanciunas. They got like a former Raptor Valanciunas, who's he's probably averaging like 18 and 12 this year, like which. Yeah. In a year where centers are kind of having like a renaissance and they're kind of becoming relevant again, Valanciunas isn't the worst option, and he can kind of shoot, the spot up 3 now, which is something he never ever had the opportunity to do when he was in Toronto.
They have a weird team. They play really big between Val and Ingram, and then they have this kid Jackson Hayes from school too, and then they have 2 guards basically between Ingram and McCollum now. They have CJ McCollum too, who's been pretty good.
That's right.
He's kind of just become a little bit of a chuck, but it's just they have a weird team and they're pretty big, so I think they match up pretty well with just about anybody that they play, which is why I think they're giving the Suns such a hard time. So yeah,
for sure. And I forgot about McCollum. I remember I was looking at the box score the other day and I was like, yeah, McCollum's solid. He's not a superstar, but he was a great partner to in Portland to Damian Lillard. Yeah, it just makes me sad when I see McCollum getting traded, when I see Dame Lillard's team always getting stripped down and having no support. I'm like how long can Damian Lillard be in this league and not get any team built around him? It's kind of like a wasted career, and I feel like Dame Lillard in the playoffs would be such a cool thing to watch, but it's like, damn, he's getting older already, and he's never really had a chance to make a run. Portland, I feel like, is a cursed franchise, man.
Yeah,
Like
they
with
are.
Greg Oden over Durant,
Yep.
then with Brandon Roy's knee injuries. Brandon Roy was so exciting. I love that dude.
R.I.P. Brandon Roy. Jesus.
Both knees, the cartilage just wearing out. Like, bro, we need like an injection into Portland. I think Portland in the playoffs would be really good. Cobb, what are your thoughts on this Suns Pelicans series? A 3-game
Yeah,
series
and
for the
like
Suns.
like I was saying a little bit ago, it kind of connects with the Warriors, right? Because like honestly, it's good. You gotta think it's gonna come down to the Suns, Warriors, and maybe a dark horse team like Dallas to maybe go on a run. But I mean,
Yeah.
you gotta like what the Pelicans are doing. Brandon Ingram's been doing his thing, kind of keeping him in the series and all that. I mean, you force like Sharman said, you force Game 7, like anything's possible, even in Phoenix, even with a full healthy Suns team. You just never know. So
Yeah.
I mean, we'll see what happens. Like I said, if something happens, if there is an injury, maybe we might see a crazy upset like that. But I'll tell you what, the Suns are in trouble even if they do win this series. They
Yeah.
really are.
Facts. And one thing we'll come back to, because I know Cobb kind of had a comment, and Sharman's the one who brought it up, but maybe we can end the stream off by talking about potentially Popovich retiring. I don't have a graphic made for it, but we could talk about maybe where he ranks all time amongst head coaches. He's got to be top 5 in my opinion. We'll get into that maybe the last at the tail end of the stream. But moving on to the next series here. This is the last series in the Western Conference. This one as well. This might be the best series in round 1, and also a very intriguing one. The Grizzlies versus the Wolves, the Timberwolves. Now, the Grizzlies had an incredible regular season. They were just flooding teams. And the thing that both these teams are like very young teams as well. So, you're always curious to see how young teams can kind of translate to the postseason, where it's a lot more physical. The whistle's a little bit, tighter, I guess. They don't really call as much as they did in the regular season. Jake, what do you think about this Grizzlies-Wolves series? I think this one's at 3-2 as well for the Grizzlies. Yeah, game 7 is going to be in Memphis, right? So
I think so.
Yeah. What are your thoughts on it?
Jaw's been good. Their whole team has been good. Jaren Jackson, their whole entire team, their whole front forward has been good. Just Cat hasn't been stepping it up. He hasn't been well. I haven't been watching the series, but
yeah,
Cat's been good. The Timberwolves, they got a rookie. It's his first time in the playoffs. He's been good. Anthony Edwards.
Yeah, Edwards is kind of blown up.
I think the Grizzlies will take it because Jaw's been stepping it up. Their whole entire team has been stepping it up from the front.
Yeah,
I like John Moran personally, and yeah,
he's an exciting John Moran. I think is a really exciting superstar. His style of play, being a slasher, being a guy who can dunk from the point guard position, also being a really good 3-point shooter. I think he's around 39% from 3, which is very serviceable. Definitely Jaw is kind of a cool face of the NBA, one of the faces of the NBA of this next generation of players. How old is Jaw? Is he 23?
20-something.
He's
22? Bro,
he's fairly old enough to drink, I think.
Yeah, seriously. I love this. I love this in the NBA. I love seeing these young players become superstars.
22.
It's exciting.
22.
Okay, 22. Damn. Holy crap, man. And to be putting up, what do you average? 27, 28 points a game this year? And led a team to one of the best records in the NBA. Sharman, what do you think about this series here so far, if you've had a chance to catch any of it?
This series in particular, I think Ja kind of had the explanation mark there in Game 3 with the third quarter with that dunk yesterday. Sorry.
Yeah. Hey, no worries. We love the doggos.
I think Ja kind of had the explanation mark in that third quarter with that dunk last night. So I just don't see the Timberwolves making too much of a run. I agree with what you said before about Cat. I just feel like Cat needs to take another step, and he just simply hasn't. I think Edwards is the real deal. And if I was the Timberwolves, I'd build my team around Edwards watching this playoff series. It doesn't seem like Cat is the guy.
Yeah.
So I'm very disappointed by Cat. I think if Cat could play up to his level, they should technically win this. The Grizzlies do seem young. They seem vulnerable, but it just seems like Cat can't take that next step to take them to the next level, which is, as a T-Wolves fan, if you're a T-Wolves fan, you got to be disappointed by that. So, but I would be encouraged by Edwards. Edwards looks like a beast, and if I were the T-Wolves, I would build my team around that guy. He looks like a gamer for sure.
For sure. It's interesting because Cat is, pretty solid defender, really good rebounder, good 3-point shooter now as well. So he's expanded his game. But again, it's how many superstar centers do we have in the league now? There's a lot of them. it's tough. I think it's still tough to build around a center as your best player. I think the Sixers are kind of seeing that maybe in this series. It's just tough to rely on. These guys have a lot of wear and tear on their bodies. Like making a deep playoff run at that size is difficult.
Yeah, and the game just doesn't cater to it anymore. The game
really
is so much
doesn't.
more high scoring, and it's so based on shooting now that building teams around centers
Yeah.
now it doesn't make
But
sense.
I mean, like at the same
Yeah.
time, these centers can shoot too, though.
Yeah,
Yeah, well, he could
I
definitely
can't
shoot.
shoot.
That's what's tricky too. I mean,
Yeah.
like like a guy like Jaren Jackson. Like I'd rather have a guy like Jaren Jackson. I feel like Jaren Jackson adds a little bit of a shooting element,
yeah,
and I just it's like more of a modern versus traditional center, right? Where I'd rather
Yeah.
have like a Jaren Jackson who's a little bit more versatile instead of that big guy that just clogs up this lane.
yeah, for sure. And one thing I'm thinking, like, you're saying that maybe he, like, bottom line, he's going to get a supermax deal from wherever he signs just because of his stats and his talent and his age. Maybe the Grizzlies decide not to go that route. I do think he will re-sign with the Grizzlies. I think they're just going to feel married to him because he was a first overall pick. I can definitely, and they can probably offer him one more year than any other team can, which I think, I don't know if that's still the case with where the home team can re-sign him and offer an extra year.
Yeah, I think they offer an extra year, and they can offer a little bit extra money too.
Yeah.
I think they'll do it. I agree with you, but at
Yeah.
the same time, man, I don't know if I'm the T-Wolves, I might be thinking twice about that. I'm not
Yeah.
really certain after watching this series. I don't know. Do you really want to give that guy that much money? What
If
kind
you're,
of a major difference does he make to your team? They're going to give it to him anyway. But my
Yeah.
point is, like, you want to think about it a little bit. I'm not
yeah,
really sure.
if
Yeah.
your ceiling is like making the second round of the playoffs or like maybe making one Eastern Conference Finals, it's like it's true. Like, how much do you value, being a good team for many years and always making the playoffs
Or do you
versus
just put
actually
them on-
winning one championship?
Yeah, or do you
it's
just
tough.
want to plaster them all over your social media and let them,
Yeah.
let them get fans that way? You know what I mean?
Exactly.
It's up to
But
you,
I was just thinking this reeks of the type of guy that in free agency the Knicks would target. I was just thinking this,
don't do
I
that
was
to
just
me.
thinking
Oh
this,
my
man.
God.
That's so true. That's
Bro,
so true.
I'm just thinking of it like their history of like signing, big men who maybe just
Walker.
aren't like Amari, who never won a championship with that great Phoenix team. I just
Eddie
in
Curry.
my head, I'm thinking if he
Eddie
has to go
Curry.
elsewhere, it's going to be the Knicks. They're going to have
I got
Casper.
Curry.
That's what we do, man. That's literally what we
Yeah.
do. We just throw money at players
Yeah.
that either like have been expiring or had a glimpse or whatever, and then they just like
Oh, hey, Marley Samari had at least that one half of the
I
year.
love Damari. I
He was
absolutely
an
love
MVP for the
Damari in
first
the
half of that
uniform,
season.
bro.
Yeah, I don't care what
I
anybody says.
love Damari because that was
Yeah.
one of the years the Knicks were the second seed and won 54 games.
Yeah,
That's
love
kind of
Marley.
crazy. I forgot
We
that they had that
got-
much success with him.
Yeah, with Carmelo and who's the other guy on that team? There was a guard too. They had
Derrick
Phil-
Rose.
Tyson-
Raymond Felton.
Tyson-
Tyson-
starting
Tyson-
point guard. Like if they had a decent point guard that year, they could have won it.
Yeah,
They
I
could
think
have
that
won
was
the
the
East.
year Tyson Chandler won like Defensive Player of the Year.
Yeah,
that
Tyson
year,
Chandler
I
won,
think, right?
Tracy
Yeah,
Melo
that
won the
was-
scoring
that was a weird
title.
team. That was a weird team.
Raymond Felton's a
Jason
blast from the
Kidd-
past.
Jason Kidd was on that team. Like,
Can you guys
No.
name how many players from that draft class where there was like 5 UNC players taken in the first round? It was like shit, man. They had Raymond Felton. They had oh my god. Now I'm drawing a blank already. There was like a whole bunch of these guys. There was Sean May. There were like all these players like who's the guy, Marvin Williams, all drafted that one year out of UNC, and none of them I don't think ever went to an All-Star game. There was like so much hype about how great UNC's team was, and none of them became superstars at that next level. Maybe Marvin Williams was the closest thing. Beam, what about you? What are your thoughts on this Grizzlies-Wolves series? Do you see any scenario where the Wolves fight back and take this thing?
No. Jaw has just been playing lights out. I've seen too much stupid shit go on this series. Sorry for the language.
It's all
With,
good.
like, Lady chaining herself to the rim. The
Oh yeah.
super glue. Trying to storm the court. That's all I see.
Yeah, I heard about that. So what was the deal with this lady chaining herself to the rim? This was pregame? Was this like with the players on the court when this
During
happened?
the game. This was
During-
during the game.
Bro, what did she come out with? Like a padlock, like a bicycle lock, or like
Yeah,
like
the
a full?
chain. And a collar.
Oh
It's
my
some
God.
like animal rights
Oh,
protest. or
fantastic!
something.
Because it's Grizzlies Wolves. Because the name is violating.
No, it's one of the
animals.
owners. It's one of the
Oh.
owners.
Oh my God! Was the owner wearing a fur coat or something? That's actually kind of wild.
No, it was like it closed down like a ventilation farm or something. I don't know.
Oh, okay. So there's probably like legitimate political reasons for it, but it kind of a weird place to raise awareness about it because clearly the
Yeah.
way that social media works now, I just thought of her as a crazy lady ties herself to to basketball hoop. I had no idea what the actual
We're super
underlying
gluing to the floor.
glued to the floor too. My God, what is going on with
Jesus.
this league right now? But Kov, what about you, man? With this Grizzlies Wolves series, what are your thoughts on it so far? What's jumped out at you from this series?
It's definitely obviously the best series going on in the West, I think, right? Just because how wild the games are. I think the T-Wolves fans should be happy, bro. Because like honestly, this team is kind of weird, right? Like they won their playing game and they were celebrating like they just won the fucking West. Like they're just going crazy.
Yeah, that was crazy.
Like I like it, bro. The T-Wolves haven't been good in a while. You know what I mean? So I like that they're putting up a fight. I don't think they'll win the series. But just like the Suns, man, it's kind of weird. Like the 1 and 2 seeds are kind of in dog fights, you know.
Exactly.
And it's like if they don't get out of it soon, while a team like Golden State, who we all know what can happen if they get hot and they do their thing, and if they can, swing, the home court around, because like if it comes down later, Golden State will have to go on the road against these teams if it comes down to it. But if they're beat up from these previous series, like all it takes is Golden State to steal one game on the road and you're going back to Golden State. That's
Oracle's crazy. Like it's a great home court advantage.
It really like the 2 seeds, like their series really do connect so much to Golden State. You know what I mean? Like it really is going to be such a factor because both those teams have to. I think those 2 teams have to go through Golden State more than Golden State has to go through those 2 teams. If that makes any sense. You know
and I think it's been long enough now. With the injuries to Klay Thompson and some. Lack of maybe a deep run for the Warriors for a couple years now. I think it's been long enough that it's a good story if the Warriors can get back to a finals and win, because I think we all thought, although now my dog's going crazy, we all thought that maybe after the three-peat that that maybe that dynasty was over. So I think now this is actually a Golden State team where it would be kind of fun to root for and see if this aging team can kind of make it.
Yeah, because like I don't know, the other Golden State teams were so easy to hate. Like I don't really feel hatred towards.
Especially once Kevin Durant went over there. Especially once
I've never seen a Golden State Warrior fan in my life until they you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Until they actually started getting hot and they went crazy.
Which is funny because really like the initial team. That won the first couple championships was all made through the draft. Like it's internally made, like Klay Thompson and Steph Curry. So it's like hard to hate on them for having homegrown talent. It was when Kevin Durant came, the big free agency splash, where it was like, ooh, like that was a hard pill to swallow for the NBA, because you're like, damn, how do you beat this team? This is crazy.
How do you like as KD with OKC? How do you go up 3-1 to Golden State, blow the series, and then go there?
Bro, it's one of the worst looks. For OKC fans, like it's a tough look. It's funny though. Like I you're talking about like not being a fan of, like not seeing a lot of generic homegrown fans. Like the Warriors have actually been kind of blessed with really entertaining basketball for a long time. Even before Steph Curry was there, that was my one. I'm a homer. Davis. Yeah, that Baron Davis led team with like
Monte Ellis.
Yeah, Corey Maggette, it had Steven Jackson. Like that was a fun team to watch. They were kind of one of the first like real small ball. I mean, they had Andres Biedrins, who was like a fossil, like he was just a traditional center. But like that team was so much fun to watch, and that Baron Davis dunk against Kirilenko in the playoffs was an all-time. Pulled the shirt up and he's got Spanx on underneath or whatever. Like I was like, what is that? He's got a sauna belt on.
And like their logo was so different. Like it felt so old school even. You know what I mean? Like compared to now, like the uniforms are different. Like everything was like, I feel like it's a whole new franchise now. It really
does seem. Yeah, it's kind of like the model franchise too. To be honest, like it seems like Golden State really's got a good thing going on over there. So moving on to the next series here, we're gonna get into the Eastern Conference here. We'll go through from the sweep to start things off. Celtics versus Nets. We got a couple Celtics fans that can kind of go into some detail in this series. Jake, so you're a Celtics fan, Jake? Is that correct?
I am, yeah.
So tell me what you saw from the Celts against the Nets. Did the Nets really put up any fight at all?
Wearing a Nets shirt though.
I am wearing a Nets shirt. The reason why I'm wearing a Nets shirt is because I was at the game last year when they played in Brooklyn. So I was at one of the games.
In enemy territory? Nice.
Yeah, but that's your enemy, bro.
I know.
Hey, but it's free. It's a free shirt, Cobb.
It was a free
get
shirt.
off his back.
I was like, let's just take the free T-shirt.
Yeah. I have no hate on the free T-shirt. I will rock any free T-shirt.
It was comfy.
Yeah. But what did you see from the Celtics? Like what players stepped up maybe outside of Jason Tatum?
Besides Jason Tatum? Probably Smart. Probably Smart. Smart played his heart out. Depoy definitely deserves that.
Yeah, for sure.
Jaylen Brown played his heart out as well.
Yeah.
Tice, pretty much everybody. Their whole bench played well.
And Tice is the center, right? Who's replacing your guy's really good defensive center who's injured, right?
Rob Williams.
Yeah. Is Williams back. Is he out for the year?
Back.
Oh, he's back. Okay, let's go.
He's back.
So that's adding a top, defensive player to an already really, really good team. I mean, I've seen what the Celtics could do. They took the Raptors with everybody injured. They took the Raptors to overtime with no starters. So I know how deep they are. And yeah, Marcus Smart's been like, and fourth quarter Devil Dog, appreciate the gifted sub to Lasery, man. And Go Geezy. Stop talking shit about Jake the Savage, Go Geezy. I just saw your comment. You threw me off there. I was about to go on, and then I'm reading chat, and Go Geezy's talking shit.
What did he say?
He said Jake looks fucking stupid.
Bro, nothing is more nasty than that group chat yesterday, bro.
Fight back.
Oh my God.
Oh, the group chat's
eyes
nasty.
have ever laid on, bro.
It was supposed to be a safe space for networking amongst sports creators, and it ended up being the worst thing I've ever created in my life.
Blame Kep for that.
Kep is. I can just boot
Kep.
Kep, and it's going to be a super wholesome group chat.
Yeah.
But sorry, I lost my train of thought there, Geezy. Thank you for derailing my podcast.
For you, Geezy, though.
Yeah, so let's move on to Charmin here. I feel like I had a question, but I totally blanked on it. So what do you think about Celtics versus the Nets? Are the Nets that bad? Are the Celtics that good? Which one is it?
I'm just so sad. I had such a large investment in the Nets. I really thought the Nets would be good this year, but I think it came down to game of the series was the third game where KD, I think he ended up taking like 3 shots in the first half, something like that. And I remember watching that game thinking, I don't think I've ever seen Kevin Durant take 3 shots in a half in my life. They just looked off the whole series.
That was bad.
Yeah.
Kyrie looked inconsistent. He looked like a guy who hasn't played all year, and I guess that's what you got to expect. But for me, it was more the surprise of Durant. Durant really seemed like, and I don't mean negative. There were parts of that series where it really looked like he didn't want to be out there, and it was surprising to me, and it was really disappointing. Honestly, it seemed like he quit on them a little bit. So, the team around him wasn't very good. I mean, for God's sakes, you got Andre starting, you got Blake Griffin coming off the bench. He's got to be 40 years old.
Brown.
Yeah.
I mean, the team around him is terrible. Don't make any mistake. But at the same time, it seemed like there was a certain point. And I think it was that third game, that first. We can try this again next year, and he really did seem like he quit on them.
Yeah.
The Celtics are just clearly not a team to mess with. They have a lot of together. They did a good job rallying them, I think, the second half of this year, and he deserves a lot of credit for that. They really look like a really tough team. They play defense, and I don't see a team in the East that can beat them. I think they come out of the East pretty easily.
Yeah.
Yep,
And I just think it's because of their defensive abilities, and they just have multiple guys on the floor that can make a play. So I just think they ran into the wrong team at the wrong time, but it was surprising to me seeing the way KD just kind of gave up on them. I was pretty surprised watching it.
Yeah, and there we go. We got Copy Pastas in the chat right now. Thank you very much, Go Geezy, for continuing to curate a fantastic chat. Moderators, be on alert. Be on alert. Oh my God. Okay, I'm timing people out in here. I don't get it, so I'm gonna time people out. Geezy, you're next, bro.
You don't know your
You're
boy
next.
Pizza? You don't know your boy Pizza?
I have no idea who that is. Who is that? I honestly
He's
have
like
no
a
idea. Madden YouTuber,
guy.
bro. The only Madden
man.
YouTuber I watch is King Kov. That's the only one. I'm kidding. You have no videos. But yeah, no, I think that Kevin Durant is. I think Kevin Durant's just continued to hurt his legacy. He's guaranteed first ballot Hall of Fame regardless. He's a really great player. But man, he just made himself so unlikable over ever since he went to Golden State. I feel like every move has been crappy. I haven't heard much positive stories about Kevin Durant. I heard that he was on Twitter after the loss. Can anyone confirm or deny? He was on Twitter already trying to defend. Oh man.
Yeah, even if you listen to his post game interview,
yeah,
he was trying to defend,
trying to like shake off responsibility for the.
It's like he wants to be
like-
the villain, but like he does it wrong.
Yeah.
Well, he wants to be the villain, but he doesn't like when people talk back to him. I think that's
Exactly. Like what?
Someone friend told him to delete his Twitter, and he said F that. He said
Oh
no.
my God.
Kyrie Irving's in a villain in Boston, so
Oh yeah, Kyrie's kind of like got villain vibes too. It's like yeah,
It came out with
that's-
fruit in
Yeah.
game 2.
Yeah, like honestly, that like Harden. I don't know if Harden's been criticized back when he was part of that big three. He's been criticized for like maybe his physical fitness, like for his off-season habits. I haven't really heard of anything about him being a bad teammate necessarily, but like that, yeah, that's probably one of the least popular big threes that I think I've seen assembled. A lot of big personalities, and obviously it didn't work out. I did see some news. I saw a tweet that I died. It was Ben Simmons is targeting a Game 5 return. Has anyone seen that one? I was dying.
Yeah.
Bro, what is
Oh, I saw another tweet that if he played in Game 4, he'd be the first player in NBA history to lose 2 consecutive elimination games, which I thought was hilarious.
That's actually hilarious, bro.
Ben Simmons is the biggest baby.
Bro, Ben Simmons.
Back to Austin.
We could do a whole. We could do a whole podcast just on Ben Simmons, I think, but I would be remiss if I did it without Big Kep in here, so I won't even go into it too much. But yeah, Kep would. I'd have to give him a voice in this situation. But Laserbeam, what do you think about this Celtics Nets series? Were you surprised that it was a sweep? Do you think it would be more of a series going into it?
I thought this was going 6 or 7.
Yeah.
But I really like the way that Ime Aduka is doing it, coaching it up. So
great coach.
Yeah.
Steve Nash is not a coach. I'm sorry, I hate it. He's not a coach.
Yeah. Let's get Steve Nash doing like Basketball Canada, like recruiting players, stuff like that. As far as I do too.
There was rumors that he would get fired after this series.
Yeah. He should. I mean, he should.
Yeah,
at the same time,
seriously.
it's not really his fault. I mean, Kyrie played half the games this year. Durant was on and off the court. Harden just basically put on the team. They trade him, and then Simmons decides he's not going to play. I don't think it's on Nash, but at the same time, somebody's got to take the fall for it.
You know what really surprised me for the Nets? Bruce Brown.
Oh yeah, he was nasty.
Yep.
Yeah. Is he? Yeah.
He's also like one of the best guys.
He's a rookie.
He's off the court.
He's a rookie.
Yeah, he's a second-round pick, I think. He was a nobody. Yeah, no, he turned out to be pretty good. It's just the team around him just stinks. I think the rest of the team is terrible.
Yeah, I'm interested to see now throwing Ben Simmons into the God, imagine like going from like an unpopular big three to an even more unpopular one now. Like the Nets might be the most hated team in the league at this point, which is kind of weird to say. But yeah, I don't know, man. It's going to be interesting to see how they work him in if Ben Simmons ever plays again, if he ever recovers from whatever it is he's going through, which God knows, I have no clue what it is.
Like mental turned into a back stress. I don't know.
Nobody knows.
Yeah, it's psychosomatic. Yeah, I don't know. I mean,
fake back injury.
Ben Simmons, I don't see him ever recovering from this.
No.
Like he's going to have to open up a children's hospital or something. I don't know what is going to get him in people's good books again.
Maybe 5.
Bro, yeah, seriously, he's going to have to become a huge philanthropist and donate his entire salary for the rest of his career to have people have a positive opinion of him. Yeah. Kov, what do you think about this Celtics Nets series? Were you surprised that it was a sweep, or did you kind of think the Celtics would run away with it?
I definitely expected it like a 6-7 like Laserbeam said, but like honestly, like with a team like that, like a team that has potential like that has superstars like that, they really don't take the regular season that serious, and I feel like they really didn't take it that serious at all. Like I feel like the Nets were such a distraction during the regular season, and it took away like them actually going out and winning games.
Yeah,
I mean, who would have expected at the beginning of the year that they would be the 7th seed had to force to play a play-in, right? Or were they 8th seed, 7th, wherever they ended up.
They were 7th.
They were the 7th.
And it's like the regular season with a team like that, that like they're not really like obviously they want to win every game, but like they're not really like stressing the regular season. They want to get to the like a guy like KD is not thinking about the regular season. He's like, when we get to the playoffs, that's when you'll see KD. And I think like the distractions and stuff, I think it really like wore on them, and not having Kyrie half the games and that whole ordeal. Like it's just this Nets team, but they were just frauds. Like it was just a fraud team. It's not on paper what it was supposed like. Yeah, the paper did not match the court. You know what I mean?
For sure. Like they'd be really fun to play with on NBA 2K. I bet. Like they'd be so much fun to play with. Yeah.
Exactly, but I don't know what's up with KD, man. Like he had one game where at one point he was like 3 for 17. Like when do we ever see Kevin Durant and 20 shots in a playoff game be 3 for 17? Like I don't know. The attitude just isn't there. I don't know if he's gonna go somewhere else. Like what's next for him? Like is he gonna go somewhere else? Like, but it's just wild because last year was their chance. And I don't know how. What do you improve on from here?
Yeah,
I don't feel the chemistry is gonna get better. Like I don't know. It's just.
Last year, you legit had 3 guys still in their prime. Now there's going to be regression from Durant at some point. I mean, Durant's not going to age like LeBron because he doesn't have the same mindset as LeBron, where LeBron can still be really good. I mean, I don't even want to talk about the Lakers too because that's not
to take even a drop away from the Celtics what they're doing, man. Like the Celtics are the real deal. They're the real deal. Yeah. Like they could absolutely slaughter the rest of the East. I'm not gonna lie.
I
so
was,
you can slaughter these.
and I'll say as a team that when there was still like a lot of jostling in the standings, and the Raptors were moving up in the standings, I was like the one team I didn't want to face was the Celtics. At first, I thought I wouldn't want to face the Cavaliers because the Cavaliers just owned the Raptors this year, and then they really plummeted down the stretch. Like they really kind of fell off. But the Celtics are just like super dominant, and even more so than the Bucks or the I knew the Bulls were going to be frauds. We'll talk about that, but yeah, even more so than the Bucks, I think the Celtics are that team this year. Now, the one last thing with the first sweep of the playoffs happening here, do you guys think there's any negative to having to sit out and rest, or do you think it's just all positive? Like, do you think there's anything to the fact of not playing a game maybe for a week?
I mean, with a team that because it's not like the Celtics just like out of nowhere got hot. Like they've been hot like the last like month and a half or so. So like I would say maybe a little bit because like they've been just so hot. But like at the same time, like these guys are focused. They're locked in. Who are they scheduled to play? Like who are they playing the winner of?
Milwaukee. And the winner of Milwaukee and Chicago.
So they'll play Milwaukee.
I mean, honestly, they like it's the same situation in the West. Like if Chicago can force a game 6, let them beat up more, and then maybe that them getting rest is obviously like more important. But I don't see the Celtics that type of team where like if they get time off that they're gonna waste it and they're gonna like back off or whatever. Like I think if anything, they're going to use it to their advantage more than anything. Beating a team like the Nets, sweeping the Nets like that. Like I think they're ready to freaking go, and they're back in the gym like the next morning, like ready to go.
Yeah, it gives
go for it.
Time Lord time to recover from his torn meniscus or whatever he had.
Oh, who had the torn meniscus?
It might have been Achilles.
Rob Williams.
Oh, the center is. But would you say he's back to like 100% at this point? Like I know if it's a meniscus, I know that you can have it removed. Like I know.
He hasn't played since May.
Oh damn. Okay, but he's gonna be back for the next series. Like is that already?
Jake, it's April.
I know, but no, last May.
Oh no,
last year.
He played earlier this year, didn't he? The center. He played through the whole season. He just got injured recently.
He missed like 3 weeks.
Oh yeah, he was hurt for 3 weeks. Oh no, I'm sorry.
Oh boy, Celtics fans. So we're gonna argue who's the better sports town, Boston or New York right now, and I think
Boston.
I think New York is winning the debate team today. I'm just gonna say.
Well, but like the funny thing is,
I hate the Nets, but I like the Knicks and the Mets.
That makes no sense.
How about the Mets, baby?
Hey, we'll get to more. I can't give Cobb any opportunities. I can't give him even an inch to talk about the Mets. I'm moving to the next topic here. Heat versus Hawks. So the Heat ended up winning in 5 games there. Even without, I think it was without Jimmy Butler, and who else was sitting out last night?
Game 5, yeah.
Yeah, was Kyle Lowry out too? Kyle Lowry and Jimmy Butler. Like, bro, like how bad are the Hawks? Are the Hawks? What are our thoughts here, Jake? What are our thoughts on this first series?
Okay, so Trae Young just decides to say no. I'm just gonna choke the series.
Yeah,
but like the Heat are good. Don't get me wrong. Considering with all the recent accusations that they just got with Kyle Lowry, and it's crazy. But
wait, what's been said about Kyle Lowry? I haven't heard anything about him.
It was tampering.
Tampering, like to bring Kyle Lowry to Miami.
Yeah,
to bring him.
Yeah, you got to tamper to bring Kyle Lowry to Miami. Like Miami's doing. Seriously, we got to tamper to get Kyle Lowry.
Yeah, Kyle Lowry's he's a good player. We love him in Toronto, obviously, but he's not a. I mean, bro, like think about all the super teams that have been built on All-Star Weekend. Like, come on, like it's there's much more bigger fish to fry. And honestly, it was weird that we didn't trade Kyle Lowry, considering we sat him out like the remainder of the season. Like that was weird. And Goran Dragic had his little cup of coffee in Toronto too. But yeah, aside from that, like, what do you think about this Heat Hawks series? So you think it was like
the Heat deserved it? The Heat deserved it for sure.
You're the 1 seed.
Yeah, they were the 1 seed. They were favored. They are a better team. I mean, if Trae Young stepped it up, they could have won it. But no, Trae Young did just decide it. I thought it was a good series.
Yeah,
I mean, my friend's a Heat fan. I'm not a Heat. A bunch of my cousins are Heat fans. Yeah. I'm not a Heat fan, but
I mean they have a lot of good talent, like, across the board. They got, Bam, who's a really solid, like, kind of new style NBA big. They got, Kyle Lowry, who's a gamer, like Bulldog. I obviously know Kyle very well from like his time in Toronto. And he will decline, and he already is declining a bit, but he's still a solid piece. Jimmy Butler, really good defender, really hard-nosed leader, but maybe not leader because he kind of almost actually destroyed that team with that weird run-in with Spoelstra. mid-season. You know, and then they got Tyler Herro, who comes in and just is a walking bucket. So it's like kind of a lot of talent on the Heat, and you know, the Hawks kind of reek of a one-man team kind of. What do you think, Sharman? What are your thoughts on this Heat Hawks series?
I think, you know, it sounds kind of weird to say that we should watch out for a number because they're number one seed for a reason. But at the same time, I think the Heat are a little disrespected when you talk about the East. They're a really, really good team. Jimmy Butler, I think, had 40 in Game 2, something like that. And this is really an entire roster of like undrafted, like really motivated players. When you talk about Bam, when you talk about Jimmy, when you talk about Lowry, so I think there's a lot of guys on this team that feel like they're really respected, like in the NBA landscape. So I would just say watch out for them. Again, it sounds stupid because they're the 1 seed, but at the same time, everybody, when you talk about the East, everyone's like, Celtics, Bucks. Even us right here on this, even on this show, 100%. We're like, oh yes, 100% the Celtics are out of the East, no problem. And it's like, you know what? Watch out for the Heat because they got they got a great coach, they got a really good team, and they have some really good guys that can, like you said, can score the basketball. So I would just keep an eye out for them. I don't think it would be too shocking for them to come out of the East. I think they got a really good team and they got a really good coach. So
we'll
see. I don't know. I could definitely see them winning the East. I still think it's the Celtics, but it wouldn't shock me if the Heat came out of the East. They really dismantled the Hawks, and the Hawks had.
Yeah. For sure. Yeah, no, you're absolutely right about it. You know, I think for the casual NBA fan, the person who might just, watch SportsCenter, I think most people probably don't even know that the Heat are the number 1 seed. I think that comes as a surprise to many. You know, I just remember the one thing that was crazy to me was like looking at Jimmy Butler. I swear he was shooting like 22% from 3 on the season. If he gets a 3-point shot back in the playoffs, and he has been a good shooter in the past, he could be scary, and he's still finding ways to score just by being a slasher and by
I mean, he's like a mid, dead eye. You know what I mean?
Yeah, dude, he's like a better DeMar DeRozan if DeMar DeRozan could play defense. Like he's kind of like prime DeMar DeRozan. Absolutely.
I think they had a bunch of guys that were like in the candidacy win a lot of awards. I think Spoelstra was in there for Coach of the Year. He didn't win that. Hero was supposed to. A lot of people thought Hero would win Man of the Year. He didn't win that, and I actually personally Player of the Year, and he didn't win that either. So this is just a team of probably really pissed off guys right now, and
a lot of chips on their shoulders.
I wouldn't want to play them, honestly.
Absolutely,
it's kind of weird when a number 1 seed has to have something like that too.
Seriously,
that little motivation, that little edge,
It's true. Like you probably look at the Vegas numbers, and I bet you Vegas numbers don't look at them as a number 1 seed. I would, I'm not a big bettor, but I know Sharman is. But I imagine the odds of them winning are probably significantly less than the Celtics or the Bucks at this point. And Spoelstra coming up too. I remember when Spo came into the league, and he came in at an interesting time with LeBron, Bosh, and D Wade all being there. And, we all looked at him like, oh, he's Pat Riley's little buddy. Like, he's just getting handed this cushy job of having, a superstar team. And I always thought, oh, yeah, he's just a company man who got handed and was in the right place at the right time. But he actually is a really damn good coach. And we've seen the continued success of Miami, with less star-studded lineups. So shout out to Spoelstra, turning into one of the best coaches in the league right now for sure, for a long time now. Laserbeam, what are your thoughts on the Heat Hawks series? And, do you think that the Heat could potentially be like an Eastern Conference Finals matchup for the Celtics?
I really do. I am actually the Heat are the other team I'm afraid of. I'm afraid of Milwaukee, and I'm afraid of the Heat. Yeah, that's no and offense. I'm not afraid of the Raptors.
What about the Sixers?
I've never liked them. I think they're frauds.
Yeah. Interesting. Frauds. I mean, there's a lot of talent,
and they don't do anything.
I mean, I've been seeing lazy Harden. Well, yeah, we'll get into that. We'll get into that in the two topics from now. But so you're thinking the Heat are a threat to make a deep run and potentially run to the Celtics?
But I think the Celtics can probably take care of them in 6 or 7.
Yeah, that'd be a good series. That would be a hard-fought series. There'd be a lot of technical fouls in that series. I can pretty much guarantee. Just the way those two teams play. Cobb, what about you, man? What are your thoughts on the Heat? Are they contenders, pretenders at this point?
Yeah, they are. I mean, like, I'm a little surprised that the Hawks didn't put up a better of a fight because I mean, let's not forget, bro. The Hawks were 2 games away from the finals last year. You know what I mean?
They really had a run.
Forgets about that. The Hawks were literally right there to win it all. They fought with the Bucks. Actually, they might have took it to I think it was a game 6, right?
Yeah.
They took it to game 6 last year. The Hawks were expected to be better than they were. So I'm just like, I don't know. I guess I'm just a little disappointed that they didn't put up more of a fight. But the Heat are a weird team, man. Like I'm still not sold. Like I still like the Celtics more. I still like the Bucks more. I don't know. Something's weird about it. I don't know if it's like just the lineup isn't as like put together as maybe like the Celtics lineup or the Sixers lineup, but I think when it comes out to it, it's gonna end up being Sixers Celtics, to be honest with you, in these finals, and then it's just gonna be a toss up from there. It's gonna be an absolute dogfight.
Yeah, absolutely. I could see it. And the Celtics are obviously, or the Sixers losing like 2 in a row is not the end of the world here. They do have a lot of talent. They do have James Harden, who hasn't really woken up yet. Like he hasn't shown any scoring ability so far in this series. So I mean, if he can even get back to a fraction of what he was just like a year or two ago, they could be a sleeping giant for sure.
Because they would play the Sixers, right? If the Sixers got out of it, or the Raptors, whoever gets like one of the that's when he play. Yeah, I like the Sixers in there a lot, bro. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, that would be a good matchup for them. I think. I think the Sixers side. Like I know Bam is a good defender, but I think Embiid could give him problems for sure. And the Sixers do have a lot of good shooting too, and honestly, the Sixers are a really damn good team. I'm going to say it's been a pleasure watching them play. It's been really damn good basketball, and it's taken a lot from the Raptors just to even stay alive for a little while longer. Shania Twain, appreciate the follow. The Shania Twain following the channel, guys. That's huge. So moving on to the next category here. The Bucks and Bulls, and I think the Bulls are down 3-1 right now against the Bucks.
Yep.
Personally, I'm not surprised. I kind of saw the momentum dying in the Bulls season. I saw DeMar DeRozan being top 10 MVP voting, and then the last 2-3 weeks of the season, the Bulls just kind of started to fade pretty quickly. Jake, what are your thoughts on this series?
Milwaukee's just blowing them out. Giannis is just an all-around demon. Mm-hmm. I mean, like, their team is good. Don't get me wrong. The Bulls, they just picked up DeMar. They do have Lonzo. I mean, like, I still say Milwaukee's going to destroy them. Like, their next game, I don't know when that is, but I think Milwaukee's just going to destroy them.
Yeah, I looked at, actually, I have a bet. I have a bet on the Bulls this season. The bet was that, actually, no, sorry. My buddy bet me that the Raptors wouldn't make the playoffs this year, and he was like, oh, man, just look at the Bulls. Like, how are the Raptors going to come, go further than a team like the Bulls? And I was like, honestly, like, when I saw that they signed Lonzo and that they signed DeRozan, I was like, okay, great. Like, so they can win maybe one playoff round, if they have a really good matchup. But, like, they don't have, like, LaVine's a good three-point shooter. He's a good slasher, but he's super inconsistent. Like, he's one of the most streaky players that I've seen in the NBA. He can look amazing, like incredible superstar one night, and then he disappears the next night. They have Vukovic, who's aging, kind of a fossil. Like, he used to actually be like a good mid-range type shooter. Now it's like, bigs have evolved past him. Like, he used to be kind of a bit, balanced type game for a center. Now he's actually, he doesn't have enough range anymore. He's a bit too one-dimensional. So I don't know. And Lonzo Ball, I just look at it as a bit of a headache. And I think he's a decent defender, decent facilitator, but he's not anywhere like, near where like LaMelo is, for example. He's not a great player. So I don't know. I kind of always thought the Bulls were going to be frauds. What do you think, Mr. Sharman Clean?
With the Bulls, I think the Bulls, you want to talk about frauds, the Bulls are the actual frauds here. I think they fooled everybody for the first half of the season, but they're just not, they can't compete with a team like Milwaukee. Giannis is being Giannis. He's still should probably win, is in the conversation for MVP again this year, and I just think they have too much for the Bulls to handle. The Bulls are just I don't know, just a strange team that's put together kind of at the last second there. DeMar is did his thing for the first half of the year and then cooled off, and like you said about LaVine's been that way his whole career. Inconsistency is the theme of his entire career. So it seems like it should be a pretty short series. I think 5 is tonight actually. They should be able to finish off the series tonight and get some rest. And just like the Celtics, I think in these playoffs you always want to have more rest. So I think they try to finish off the series tonight and move on. For the Bulls, we'll see what the Bulls do this offseason. They're definitely better. But they're definitely a couple parts away from being a legit contender, I think.
And I'd have to imagine that they're going to be a little bit hamstrung with cap space. Like, after signing all these guys, like I'm always like for me at this point, after seeing what Kawhi meant to Toronto and taking on a big salary to once I saw that, I realized, you know what, really the only signings that matter is if you're signing a top 10 player in the league. Everything else, really is just tying up cap space and you know, going for. I mean, I know that's not exactly the case, but I'm starting to appreciate.
They do. They have some weird contracts. I think they have to. I think LaVine is free agent or coming up on free agency pretty soon. They paid. They're still paying Vucevic a ton of money. They just paid Lonzo. You know, DeMar got a huge contract from them too. He's already 32, so they're already a little strung. And I don't really know how much more they could really do to make this team too much better. So
that's I kind of see them in a holding pattern. Like
they're in that weird in between position. You know, where you're not really that good.
Yeah,
you're kind of one of those weird 6, 7, 8 seeds for the next couple of years. So
100%.
I don't really know how much more they can do.
Which I feel like, you know, when the Raptors finally started to make playoff appearances after the Vince Carter era, like they were in that situation for a long time, and it's like it's great because you have a reason to watch the entire regular season, and then it's always super disappointing come playoff time, and eventually you get tired of it.
They have to. I think they got to find a way to flip LaVine for another asset, and then just simply not pay him. I think they got to put another part around DeMar that makes sense, and then pair it up with Lonzo. I think they need another big kind of a forward/3. That can kind of pair with him. So I don't really know what they do, but I think if they're going to be productive.
Yeah, absolutely. No, I agree with that. Beam, what are your thoughts? You were saying to me, I believe, that you thought the Bucks were going to be the biggest challenge in the East for your Celtics here. So and they'd be matched up in the next round, correct? So that would happen in round 2. So that's a really good. That kind of reeks of like Eastern Conference Finals to me. That series. Yeah. I kind of tend to. So first of all, do you think the Bucks are going to take care of business and get rid of the Bulls? Yeah.
Yes. I didn't even know the Bulls were that good this year, gonna be honest.
They really haven't been. They can't be any good team.
No, and they really the holes started to show, you know, the last couple weeks. Kind of the same way that Cleveland really fell off. Cleveland and Chicago both really started to fall off the last couple weeks. And I know because the Raptors played them in the last part of the season, they were not that impressive. So So what do you think if assuming the Bucks do close it out here? What do you think a Celtics Bucks round 2 could look like?
7.
7? Yeah.
7. Yeah.
7.
Yeah. Home court would be in Boston, so I do like the Celtics in that series.
Yep.
Yeah, it might come down to that. It might be as simple as that. Home team wins, or whoever can steal a game, or the first team to steal a game on the road wins. It's one or the other basically. Both those teams are, very good defensive teams, and they both have star power with Tatum. Kind of obviously Giannis would be the biggest star in that series, but Tatum looks like he can go toe to toe now at this point. He's ready to take that next step in his game.
Jason, Jalen, Smart. Don't let Marcus Smart shoot. That's the only thing I'm saying.
Oh yeah, bro. He's not afraid to shoot, but yeah, definitely. You don't want to rely on him as he's there for the defense for sure. Cobb, what are your thoughts? Bucks, Bulls, or beyond into round 2 for the Bucks?
Yeah, like I said, I mean, it's just like the Bulls like numbers against 500 teams or better. It just was so bad this year. You know what I mean? So like it's really not surprising. What I think is funny is like the Bucks are kind of like the dark horse team, right? A team that everyone kind of forgets about. Yeah. But it's like it's weird that we kind of place the Bucks in that position considering they're the defending champs. You know what I mean? It's kind of weird that we take a team that just won it all, that didn't really change that much with Giannis doing his thing, and they're considered the kind of a dark horse team. Like they could do it, and I'm sure there's people that expect the Bucks to make a run like that. But like we're all talking about the Celtics, obviously the Heat or whatever. But I feel like nobody's talking about the Bucks. Like nobody is talking about the Bucks, and I'm one of them. So like, it's just kind of weird when you think about it. Like the defending champs that haven't changed much. They're steamrolling the Bulls team. Like I said, not that good, but they're not bad either. I mean, they're still in it. They're still competing. Like they still won a game. So I mean, and they still could. It's the same thing with the other series. If they could fight, it's going to change. How these series play forward. After let's say the Bulls win the next 2 somehow and force a game 7 even. Like how crazy would that end up being? Yeah. And then the Celtics are really sitting around waiting for the Bucks to get there. Like or whatever ever happens. But like. It's weird that we kind of put the Bucks in this spot where it's like they're almost like an underdog after just winning it all. So the Bucks Celtics should be hell if it goes that way.
Yeah,
should be a hell series.
Absolutely. No, 100% there. And I have a question, Bucks related here. I remember I was kind of box score surfing, like looking around, and I saw Bobby Portis's numbers on the year, and I swear he was like averaging like 17 points, 8 rebounds. Is he actually a good player now? Is he good? Because he was kind of like a role player, like added to the team.
He was on the Knicks for a year.
Legend Bobby Portis? Yeah.
Yeah.
Love Bobby Portis.
Is he legit now? Because like I remember him, everyone was like, "Oh, they're the," he kind of became a fan favorite down the stretch and in the playoffs, like being kind of that glue guy and like getting under people's skin and stuff. But then I was like, "Damn, this guy's actually putting up decent stats. He might get paid at some point."
I think he just fits well with them. I think that's what it is.
I think glue guy is the perfect word for it. That's what he was on the Knicks too. It seemed like he came off. He gave the team a little bit of energy. He's that kind of a guy.
Yeah, I feel like I'm so sick of the term glue guy because I remember for years. In between Vince Carter and the Kyle Lowry, DeMar DeRozan years, we had teams full of glue guys, a lot of fan favorites, and you can't build a championship around those guys. But when you do have a talent like Giannis, why not keep the glue guys around? I think his brother's still on the team too, right? Like, yeah. So they're just doing whatever they can to keep Giannis happy at this point, which is smart. Moving on to the last series here, and I saved the best for last. Not the best for last, but a series that looked like it was over really early. Raptors versus Sixers at 3-2 for the Sixers, going back to Philly tomorrow night in a potential closeout game. Jake, what do you see happening down the stretch here? Do you think the Sixers take care of business on their home court or what?
I mean, they could. If they're on their home court, they could take care of their business. I mean, to be honest, Harden has not been stepping it up. And Embiid even said, "Step your shit up."
Yeah.
And the Sixers are good. I dislike the Sixers, but
what don't you like about their team? Like, what? Like, is it personality wise? Is it like?
I mean, it's Philly.
Makeup?
They're nasty.
It's just Philly. It's just Philly. I mean,
they're nasty. They're nasty.
Embiid has been playing good. Harden has not been playing as well as they thought.
Yeah.
They just need to step it up, and then they just need to win. But I think the Raptors will take it.
Really? You think the Raps are going to win 2 in a row and potentially take this? Hey, I love it. I love it.
It'll be the first team to come back 3-0 ever.
Yeah, and Doc Rivers is pissed off about it.
I
love Doc Rivers, personally.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, Doc Rivers I love, bro. Has anyone's voice been through the ringer more than Doc Rivers, man? I literally get physical pain when I hear Doc Rivers getting interviewed at halftime. It sounds like the most broken record ever. I wonder, I would love to get, audio of him 20 years ago and see if he sounded the same way. Because, man, that guy sounds like he's just breathing through a straw when he talks, man. It's tough. But
he even coached Boston.
Yeah, I remember him on Boston with the Big Three. He's and then obviously he had a limited success in LA too. He kind of, after the Big Three, he kind of has gotten a bunch of cushy coaching jobs, but hasn't really been able to follow up. Although I think he just passed somebody to go to 4th all time in playoff wins, something like that, 4th or 5th all time playoff wins for a head coach. So, that's pretty damn good. I wouldn't say he's the best coach of all time, but he has had a lot of success in his career. What are your thoughts on this one, Mr. Sharman Clean? Do you think the Sixers take it at home?
We'll have to see. I don't know. There's something about the Sixers that seems a little off. I don't know what it is I don't know what it is. They seem a little bit off. I'm not really sure exactly what it is, but that game the other night, that game 5 was weird. The Toronto really came out in the second half or the second quarter and just absolutely blew them out of the water. In the second quarter, they never really recovered.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's a strange team. Any team with Doc Rivers and James Harden, I'm going to be a little skeptical of. Just their postseason resumes speak for themselves. So
yeah.
We'll have to see. I would expect the Sixers to close it out, but at the same time, it is Harden, it is Embiid, and it is Doc. So who the heck knows? But
yeah,
if I'm a betting man, I still take Philly to win the series.
Yeah, for sure. And the one thing I'd say, the next game in Toronto, that they've already won a game in Toronto, and it was on a kind of that miracle 3-pointer by Embiid. But at the same time, they had a shot at the the end of regulation too that just missed as well. So the Raptors, it took a little bit of luck to even make overtime in that game. And the wheels really did come off in the fourth quarter of Game 3 for the Raptors. We were in control for 3 quarters, and then it just got ugly. So and I've seen Joel Embiid become that clutch shot taker for them too. He's looked a little bit. It seems like the Raptors might have found out a little way to get the double team to him early and put some pressure on him and make it frustrating lately. I do agree with what Jake was saying about Harden looking just lethargic.
I've seen step it up.
Yeah, I've seen I get that he's a really good facilitator. I've seen him pass up so many top of the 3-point arc, like dead center 3-pointers where he just looks like he just stutter steps, like he just doesn't want to shoot the ball. I don't understand if maybe he's got the yips or if he's just is really. I don't know, man.
It's just typical playoff Harden. He just disappears when you need him the most.
The hell?
He's just playing his character perfectly.
Yeah.
That's just what he's always done his whole career. So.
Which even for ASU, man, in the tournament, he was one of the top ranked college players, and he looked like shit in the The Sweet 16 or not the Sweet 16, but
is there not a Game 6 in Toronto though?
It is, and we got a crazy home court advantage, and that's what I was gonna say. They have won a game in Toronto, but I know the fans in Toronto are going to be going wild. They were very hostile. They don't get down on their team. Game 5, there were fucking boos in Philly. Your team is up 3-1, and you're booing them in a playoff series. Like, what the hell is wrong with? I mean, I get that Philly fans are tough.
That's literally the entire city and every sports team there. They're scumbags.
I was like, what the hell? I was just like shocked that they were booing their team when they still had a chance to come back and win the game. Really, really weird stuff. So I feel like if it does go to a Game 7, and if they get down by 10 points, I feel like that home
you're gonna take
court
the energy out.
Gone.
Take the energy out of the arena.
Absolutely, but I mean, like you said, no team has come back from down 4 games to none.
I would love it. That would be crazy.
Yeah. Exactly. I know Nick Nurse said, we got 1 win and teams have come back from down 3-1. I know it's not the same thing because, there's ways to put it. And I did see a quote today from Nick Nurse, what he said to them when they were down 3-0. He said, it's really tough to come back from 4-0. It's never been done before, but if there was a team who could do it, it would be us. And I think, that's kind of the attitude you got to have. I can't remember. Did we talk, Beam, did we talk to you about this series yet? Raptors, Sixers?
I don't think so.
Yeah, talk to me here. What do you think is going to happen?
I don't even know.
Nobody
go either way.
He's on the codeine from the surgery right now.
I'm on nothing right now.
He's super out of it. Yeah. You can tell he's out of it.
Oh man,
I literally only follow the Celtics.
Yeah. So the Bucks. Can I just get you to say Raptors win in 7? Could I just get you to say that just so I can have a clip?
Raptors win 7.
Let's go. There you go. Beautiful. Love it. I got a malleable panel here. Let's go, Kov. What are your thoughts on this?
Bro, that Game 3 was. I think that the Game 3 changed like a lot. You know what I mean? Because if the Raptors end up winning that game, imagine what the spot we'd be in now if the Raptors had won that game.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
That'd be crazy.
Now it'd be on the other end. You know what I mean? Now we'd be talking 3-2 in Toronto. You know what I mean? That Game 3 was just wild, and I think that was kind of the turning point. But you got to give props to this Toronto team. Is feisty as hell, bro. They are hella feisty. They fight like crazy, and I think they'll force a Game 7, and it's so hard to determine with a series like this who could win a Game 7, even if it's in Philly. But like you said, them booing, their own team up 3-1. Like Webb is, like you said, they go down 10. You take the fans. You take the fans out of a basketball game, bro. Yeah. It changes a lot, bro.
Yeah, when the opposing bench is louder than the home fans, that's a problem.
Exactly.
There's nothing more demoralizing than that. I will say, one thing about this Raptors team, we've been playing without Fred VanVleet. He got injured in Game 4. I guess it was like a hip flexor type injury. He ripped his jersey off. I was like, I didn't know because I was watching it with no sound, and I was like, what the hell?
Right.
But so he was out for Game 5, and I'm not gonna lie, we looked way better without him. Just with the size that we were able to put on the court. Scotty was basically our starting point guard. Scotty Barnes coming back from his ankle injury. I kind of hope. I think Fred VanVleet, don't get me wrong, I think he could be a good player down the road in the playoffs, but I think in this series he's not really a good matchup for Maxi's speed. I think we're better off going with a big lineup, and I hope that they kind of rest VanVleet and just see what these long boys, we call them the long boys now. It's not catching on, but I call them the long boys. Bunch of tall 6'7" to 6'9" players with reach.
I would love it, man. I mean, teams have gotten to a Game 7. Teams have been down 3-0. They've got to Game 7, but they haven't won the Game 7.
A lot of teams have.
You know what I mean? So, honestly, this would be awesome. It's fuck Philly forever. So, yeah, man, let's go Toronto. It's fuck Philly forever. So,
love it.
Top off Harden's entire playoff career if we could add to the resume that he blew a 3-0 lead. I think that would just be
great.
It would be amazing.
It would be poetry.
Amazing, bro.
It would be nice. Freaking amazing.
Absolute poetry. I think, the one last thing I wanted to talk about here, and this was kind of an unplanned thing, and I don't have a graphic for it, guys, but we talked about, or Sharman brought up the fact that Popovich is considering retirement. Has he made any formal statements about his intentions, or is that just kind of speculation?
I think it's pretty heavily speculated that. I mean, he doesn't have anything else to prove. The team's clearly rebuilding. He's the all-time leader, all-time leader in wins. So there's nothing left for him. So I'd be surprised if he.
Yeah.
I'd expect that to be his last year.
And what do we think? So we don't necessarily have to go around the panel for this one, but if anyone wants to chime in, with what Greg Popovich's legacy is in the history books, and then maybe where you'd rank him all time amongst head coaches. Top 3 for you, Beam? Yeah. And
he's a good coach.
Yeah. Who else would be on the top 3? We got Phil Jackson. Obviously, is up there. He's got to be.
I'm kidding.
Oh God, Bill Russell, player coach.
Yeah,
that's nasty.
I had to throw that in there.
Here's just a side question: where do you rank Spoelstra? Because Spoelstra is actually like he's dealt with a lot of different Heat teams throughout the last almost 2 decades. Like it's kind of wild to think that like he's been able to like keep it together. Getting LeBron, losing LeBron, having D Wade his whole career, and then whatever. And like now with these young guys, and now another number 1 seed team, it's like where does Spoelstra lie?
I mean, it's kind of weird because like the coaching lineup, like job security is not what it used to be. Like you get coaches who stay in the league forever. Larry Brown, guys like you know what I'm thinking of is Jerry Sloan, like guys like that, Don Nelson, guys who just have super long careers. I don't know if we're still going to see NBA head coaches. I don't know if Spoelstra's going to have a 30-year coaching career. Like these guys, the coaches probably get paid way better too now, where they don't need to work forever to have a high quality of living.
It's like
so maybe the years of the dynasty coaches is over. I don't know.
I don't think Pop doesn't get enough respect, but like I understand what people are saying. It's like he literally had a big 3 that lasted 15 years.
It was kind of like the perfect place at the perfect time for him.
Time, they literally went 2 decades without a losing record. Like
bro, they went like 2 decades winning 50+ games every year. Like they were.
That's what I mean. So it's like
with championships.
What's the fine line of like the team's just really good and like the coach made that team to the point where they were able to be really good, even with the big 3 like that. Like what is the fine line of a good coach with a good team? Like where is it? Does it go 50-50? Does it go 70-30? Like what is the actual like?
I would even argue that maybe they never had a big 3. I think they had a big 2 with David Robinson and Tim Duncan. I think those are 2 Hall of Fame superstar players. And then I don't know if we can consider like Tony Parker, Manu Ginobili. Can we consider those 2 guys? Like they're very good pros. Very good. I would say that Tim Duncan was always the big 3 type guy, and I would say Manu and Tony Parker, I would give a lot of credit to Popovich for coaching them up and making them perfect for a system and just keeping that going for as long as possible. I don't know though. They're still very good players.
Mostly, like they were like so like vastly different from each other. I mean, different positions obviously. But, like the personalities of all 3 of them was so different, and like I just think they gelled so well. It was just like they were just one of those teams. It was like a big 3. It was impossible to hate. Like that big 3 had no haters. Like you can't hate on that team. Like there's nobody out there that actually hates the Spurs and hated Tim Duncan and Tony Parker and Manu. Like unless you were playing them in the finals like he were or whoever. Like that's the only way you could dislike them. But you can't hate that big 3. They're all good dudes. They're Hall of Famers. Like there's nothing negative you can say about them.
And I would say and maybe Tim Duncan set the tone for this. Least sexy. And I'm not talking physical appearance. Least sexy big 3 of all time. But that all starts when your main guy is the big fundamental. It's not a sexy style of gameplay, but damn it, it's good basketball for a lot of years. So it'll be sad to see Pop go. I like Pop too. Not
he was a great
coach. He really was.
Yeah, he was a great one.
I like him too because he's not just all about basketball. I love that he has an opinion on everything. I think that's super cool. I love it when coaches, when you're representing an organization, there's a lot of temptation to not say anything about issues. He'll talk about any issue, and I think that's really cool about Popovich. And now I wouldn't be surprised to see him be like some big time commentator, after his playing career. We might hear him really go off on some issues once he's not even tied to the Spurs anymore.
Probably, yeah. You're probably going to hear a lot more from him.
He might chain himself to a basketball net in next year's playoffs. We don't even know yet. He could do that. But
we know.
Boys, we covered a lot. We covered the entire first round. We've been doing this for about an hour and a half. I really appreciate you guys taking the time. I feel like we got some good opinions here. I learned a lot from you guys, as I always do. But to my guys, Lasereem, Jake the Savage, King Kov, Mr. Sharman Clean, it has been an absolute pleasure, guys. Thank you so much for taking time out of your busy schedules to be on the Northern tonight.
Thank you. Appreciate it.